Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
I ain't gonna hear nothing. I ain't gonna hear nothing. I ain't hear
Check
no hot
1
stuff.
2. Check 1 2. All
I know
right,
you bad,
everybody.
man.
All eyes on me. All eyes on the teacher. That's what I used to say. I want to thank everybody for coming out today. We have some business to take care of. First thing I want to do is call this meeting to order. It is 5:55. I knew we were going to be a little bit late today because of the food, because of the taste of diversity. And let's give it up for our Minority Affairs Committee. It is always a treat to get all the different tastes. You know, we have over 141 languages being spoken in Prince George's County. So you know we have all different kinds of food, and I absolutely love it. I can get anything from Jamaican food to pho to Italian food, whatever. So I love it here. I'd like to adopt the agenda with flexibility. I'd like to add under G, ESFCU. Educational Systems Federal Credit Union. G. Under appearances, it would be F. Okay, so let me tell you guys before you get mad at me today. The runoff ended on Friday, okay? And I am human just like the rest of you, and I'm a little freaked out waiting for the election results, okay? So, if I say something wacky or stupid today, chalk it up to the fact that I'm still kind of, you know, my mind is on that, and I'm trying to run a meeting, and I love Brian Glover, and, you know, all is good with the universe, okay?
What are we at again?
So we're on F.
What is it?
Employee Systems Federal Credit Union. Okay. So I'll entertain that motion. Donna Christie? Make sure that mic is on.
Donna Christie, is it on now?
No.
Donna Christie, treasurer.
Talk right into it.
I
Donna.
move the agenda with flexibility.
It didn't come on at all?
It's the green light.
It says it's on.
Yeah, and I can hear you.
Oh, I gotta get it, you gotta get
You
this
gotta,
close.
gotta get right close.
Bring them out. We're gonna all have the flu by the end of the night. I moved it with flexibility.
Michelle Clark, Board of Directors, I second.
Seeing no hands, all in favor of accepting the agenda as read, raise your voting cards. Okay, thank you. All opposed? All right, thank you. MSCA update. Oh wait, we gotta approve the minutes, I'm sorry. Backing up. So we need to adopt the February 25th, 2019 minutes. Microphone 2.
I move adoption of the minutes
From February the
from
25th,
February the 25th.
Second.
seconded by Donna Christie. All in favor of accepting the rep council minutes from February 25th, 2019, please raise your voting cards. All opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Appearances, MSCA update, Donna Christie.
MSCA. So, great news from MSCA Board of Directors is that because the sky did not fall from Janice yet, we had a budget surplus of $1.7 million. I know. So, right? So, we had a little money to spend on some one-time expenses. So, if you go to MSEA, probably over the summer or next year, you'll notice that a lot of capital improvements are going to be done. In particular, the elevator is at end of life. The parts are no longer available for it. So if it were to break down today, there would be no elevator for a 5-story building. So that's going to be replaced. The HVAC system, which was down to one something or other out of 4 working, that will be replaced. The phone system, because that's at end of life. The phone system is at end of life. There's some security upgrades that are happening. And so basically a lot of repairs have been put off, waiting for Friedrichs to happen and now for Janice to happen. A lot of expenses were put off. And now that we're okay, we've survived Janice, we're going to get caught up on some improvements. That being said, there's also, we've approved to convert a Uniserv director. What PGCEA is getting out of some of the deal is that MSEA is going to ask NEA to fund an additional Devin's position, right? No, which position? Josh's position. So they're going to be helping us with funding that. So currently, which you haven't even met, our new guy, Joshua. So we have a new staff personnel on deck. So he's going to be introduced apparently later, but MSEA, NEA are going to help support funding that. So that's it for tonight.
Thank you, Donna. Y'all can clap for her. You know, it really is, being on the state board, and I want to make sure people understand what that means. That means that every month, Donna gives up a weekend to go up to MSCA, and it's voluntary, it's not paid. But it's important that we have people in the room at those MSCA meetings, because a lot of things, such as getting additional Uniservs that we have been requesting for a while, because they say there's a certain amount of members that you're supposed to have. And given the amount of members that we have, we didn't even have enough Uniservs when I became president. So now we're moving on up, and now we're asking for a little bit more, because it's hard out here in Prince George's County. And we need to make sure that our members are served in a manner that is going to be appropriate for where we work. So I have been, those of you who've been to the conventions, I've been a thorn in their side about that. Next we have the Board of Education budget hearing updates. And I guess I can tell you what's going on with the Board of Education budget updates. I'll tell you what I want to do. I want to save that for the president's report, because I have some additional information. So I'm going to skip over that. That's why we adopt this with flexibility, because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. Okay? And bargaining for the common good, we're going to put that on the executive director's report so we don't go down a rabbit hole again. However, March the 11th was the beast. If you went, stand up. If you went, stand up. Okay? Now I want you to reach around and pat yourselves on the back.
I've been in
If you recruited in your building, stay standing. If you brought your family, stay standing. Okay? If you were a bus captain, stand up. Okay? That's what I'm talking about. close to 3,000 people from Prince George's County. Now, these are my Trump numbers. But I will tell you this. As I stood on, and most of you saw me standing up on the side of the road there yelling at people, calling people out, saying, I see you, Prince George's County, I see you, Cecil, I see you, Calvert. I was really kind of doing an informal count in my head. So based on Teresa Dudley's math, first of all, there were a lot of people from Prince George's County that did not ride a bus. I believe we had 2,000 people who had signed up to go. I know there was more than 2,000 Prince Georgians there, because not only did I see our red I Love Public School shirts, I saw teacher recommended shirts, I saw shirts that people made their own PGCEA Red for Ed shirts. The young lady out of Flowers, I want to see if we can get some more of those. It was really, I have to tell you, that was my proudest moment as your president, to see so many of you active and engaged and participating in this process, because we cannot stand back and let people treat us any old kind of way anymore. We've got to show up, speak up, and step up. And that's where I want to go. And not just for, not just for Teresa, but for you and all of our members of PGCEA. So I want to thank you again. I might have a little something else to say about that in my president's report. But the next step that I'm going to talk about in my president's report, because we cannot say, oh, well, we marched, we're done. We have more work to do. You ready?
Yes.
You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, because we got work to do. Okay? NEA director election update, I don't know, but when I find out, trust me. Okay? And is that the old agenda? Oh, okay. And those numbers that you saw on the back table, those aren't the numbers from the runoff. Those are the original numbers that you had to get 50% of the votes cast. And I didn't get 50%, but neither did either the other two, so it created the runoff. So I still could sneak in there and win, and I thank you all for your support. Educational Systems Federal Credit Union, where is that young man? I call him young man because I'm old now. Come on up. We have some good news coming from the Educational Systems Federal Credit Union, who, by the way, helped to finance our food for today. Okay, and his name is Maurice Williams. Come on up, Maurice.
Can you guys hear me? Okay. So, how many members do we have out here? Never heard of members of the credit union, Educational Systems Federal Credit Union. Okay. How many people never heard of us before? Okay. So, just to give you a brief overview, we've been here since 1955. We started in Blainsburg, Maryland, and we're now, we started at about $30,000 in annual revenue. We're now at over $1 billion in revenue annually, and we have 13 branches. We're the largest educational-based credit union in the state of Maryland, and one of the largest top 5 on the East Coast. We're growing steadily. We are actually moving our branch in Upper Marlboro to a branch right here off Marlboro Pike. You may have seen it when you came down here, right in the corner. We're moving there on April 1st. So we have a new branch coming for you guys. Secondly, for those who don't have any business with us, we have a new checking account promotion that we're extending to all the staff members, where if you open up a checking account and do a direct deposit with us, you'll receive $300. Yes. Yes. Okay. So yes. So that promotion is extended to everyone here. How many PTA presidents do we have in here? Do Do we have any PTA presidents? People that's active in their PTA? Okay. I would love to come out to your school. We also do free seminars. And for the middle and high school, we also have a program called the Millionaires Club, where we teach students about financial literacy, as well as the stock market, so they can participate in stock market games. Okay? What else? We're giving away a gift card today. We gave away one last time. If that person is here, you have it for them.
She's right here. Didn't you win a gift card last night?
Yes.
Okay, yes, come see me. And also, if you want to enter into the raffle, I'm in the back. I also have a free gift for the first 32 people to see me. I have a free gift for you guys back there as well. Okay, it's a mug, so it's a mug. Also, for you guys, I know that right now we want a spring cleaning. You guys got your taxes back. You're trying to eliminate that. We also have refinance specials for auto loans as well as mortgages. Our mortgage rates are extremely low right now. We have a product that's doing 3.85. And you really can't find that a lot of places. Please learn more about that. My business card is back there, as well as a home equity loan that's doing 2.99. So we want to get rid of some debt. Okay? So come and see me. Please come and visit our new branch right here on 400 Road, Marble Pike. And that's pretty much it. The grand opening is April 1st. So next month. April Fool's Day. Yeah, I'm telling the truth. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you, Maurice, and thank you for your support. Maurice,
Yes.
I just have an idea. I'm gonna put you on the spot. Where's Marguerite Matthews? Okay, Marguerite Matthews, I need you to talk to Maurice about June the 15th before he rolls out the door.
Have his business card.
Okay, all right. We're gonna talk about that in a minute. We're gonna have some fun. Y'all wanna have a little fun?
Okay.
Okay, so now
Nothing.
I got a little bit of sad news. And I'm not good at sad news. I've been rolling this one around this weekend, all this week. As many of you may know, I have been honored to be elected as the chair of the Minority Caucus for the state of Maryland. Thank you, Dee Dee. She's my hype girl. I don't know how many of you actually understand the history of public education in Maryland and how important the Minority Caucus is for us to still have. Whether you're white, black, green, or purple, our children are all of those different hues. And week before last, one of our great leaders, Iris Harris, who was the chair of the Minority Caucus for a long time, and a very close friend of Senator Joanne Benson's, passed away. So I want you to know that I stand here on her shoulders. I don't take it lightly that so many great leaders have come before me and allowed me this opportunity to serve. Because you may not know it, but for a long time, brown teachers like me couldn't even join PGCEA. We were in a separate union. It was the American Teachers Association. That was for the segregated schools. PGCEA was for the white schools. Now, anybody here teach at Rogers Heights Elementary School? No? Bladensburg High School? Kenmore Middle School? I'm calling schools that I know about their history. I'm calling schools that I know that were segregated schools at one time where African Americans were not allowed. Those of you who were here for our Black Lives Matters, where Dr. Thornton spoke and talked about what's black got to do with it? A lot. So I'm gonna talk a lot about the history over the next year or so, because I think it's important for us to know where we've come from. And I'm not just talking about ethnic minority rights, I'm talking about women's rights. Because there were a lot of things women couldn't do. Heaven forbid you have a baby while you were working. Teachers couldn't get pregnant, you had to leave. It's a different world now. Guess what? Now we got what? Maternity leave. It's a paternity leave. We got all of that. But it's because of great leaders that have come before us that have pushed for these changes. Okay, so this. Hello? Yes? Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Thank you for calling me. All right. Thank you. Okay. 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 Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate the phone call. Thank you. Bye-bye. I'm sorry, that was the only phone call I was gonna take. So the vote count was, and you guys are amazing.
That's true.
Philomena called me on Friday, right here, and she said, I went around everybody in my building, Miss Dudley, and I made them all vote. And I got text messages and emails from people, and I want to say thank you. So there was 1,947 votes cast for me. 1,678 for the second place person, and 1,413 for the third place person. There will be no other runoff. Y'all know I want to break out the bad dance right now, don't you? I tell you what, as soon as I finish my business, I get to it. All right, thank you again. Thank you again. I am very.
Can I have a point of personal privilege?
Go ahead.
I can't scream. However, this is the first time ever that we have had an NEA director from Prince George's County. Number one, right here.
I'm going to put her in one pocket and Dee Dee in the other pocket. My hype girls. Thank you so much. I love you very much. So now we can move on to the Treasurer's Report. Donna Christie.
It's back on the table now. If it wasn't there when you came in, it's on the table now. It looks like this. I have my signature on it. Okay.
Are you fine?
So it's not a lot, because next month is gonna be it's gonna be May's the big month. But right now, the draft budget has been given to the board of directors at their board meeting last week. They will take action on it at their April board meeting. So then it will come to the rep council as recommended from the board at the April rep assembly. And so then you will also receive guidelines on how to amend the budget, should you desire to do so. And then we will take action on the budget to approve it at the May representative assembly. So that's where we are in the budget process. Investment policy, we have an investment committee that has been formed. We have I'm not a teacher, so I don't know how to do all that. Because y'all know I'm a school psychologist, right? Anyway, so we have done some research and accumulated some information, so we're drafting a policy for that the board will then review and approve. And we are also going to be meeting with representatives from 4 financial institutions to consider their proposals for how we should invest our reserves. And then finally, our audit came back with a clean report. Yay! I know, accounting is boring, I'm sorry, but we had an unmodified clean report that we represent all of our financial statements fairly, and we are following generally accepted accounting principles, also known as GAAP. So that is the treasurer's report. And back to you, Madam NEA Director.
She's been telling me all week, you're gonna win, you're gonna win. So I want to move the executive director's report up. Yes. Are you ready? Need some more time. Okay. Okay, well then I'll go back to the agenda as presented. Hey, see, that's what you get. Okay, Charles Bird is not here. Christy, do you have a report? Oh, by the way, our Future Educators Committee chair is not here because she got married. Yes, Brian Curry got married on Saturday. Pictures look really beautiful on Facebook. I'm sorry.
All right.
Family, so we gotta
get it out, okay. Christy Lynch, Government Relations. I'm just gonna give a brief report. Our President, Teresa Dudley, just spoke briefly about the march on the 11th. We were a very large part of the huge success of the March for Our Schools. We had approximately 50 buses that left from schools all over the county, and we had the largest group in the state. This rally was the largest in nearly a decade and covered by nearly every network in the Baltimore and DC metro area, which is pretty rare. So as we move to April 9th, we'll watch to see if the blueprint bill will pass. And this is the bill that will allocate the foundation funds for Kerwin Fund implementation. And we've talked about Kerwin before. Teresa, if you want to elaborate on it later. All right, okay. So, upcoming, the Board of Education will have budget hearings on Thursday, April 25th with the County Council. And County Council, well, I got that. The County Council, the Board of Education budget hearing meeting is on the 25th. And the PGCPS budget request will be finalized and then sent to the County Council. County Council meeting is on Monday, April 29th. Both begin at 7 p.m. And so it's very important that we have educators at both of these meetings. Final budget. Last but not least, our Government Relations Committee meeting will be Wednesday, April 3rd, and we'll discuss our efforts to support the local budget process and bargaining for the common good. As you know, we're in the middle of negotiations, and the rubber is about to hit the road. Our government relations strategy is going to play a major part in this process and the success of our negotiations. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Give her a hand, come on now. I'm feeling good tonight. We're gonna get everybody here tonight. All right. So, next we have on the agenda I don't see Mr. Otis here. Oh, there you are, dear. Come on up. Invite people to join the grievance committee.
Good afternoon, everyone. The grievance committee has finally formed itself, and we met about 2 weeks ago. And so we are looking at one of the grievances from Greenbelt Middle School, and we're looking at other systems that have a grievance committee already in place, using it as our guide. So our fearless leader was there with us to get us started, and we'll be meeting very soon to follow up on some things and get back with you as we put this into a process.
We are putting together a survey on subpay because we want to see what's going on out in the buildings regarding subpay. We're hearing different things. We're hearing that special educators are being pulled to cover classes, and then the special educator would get the subpay, and then the person who stays in the class wouldn't get the subpay, and they're covering for two people, and it's happening an awful lot. And it's also happening that some people are being asked to cover classes, and they're splitting the classes, and they want to give you 8 kids, and they want to pay you $3, whatever it is, because they split the money up. So we want to look at all of these things because, quite frankly, it's not fair. And the committee is looking at county-wide grievances. And we're looking at what's a gripe and what's a grievance. And we are looking through the contract to make sure that the things that are supposed to be happening are happening. Now, I know we tried to get this started earlier in the year. However, it's not Mr. Otis's fault. It's all, I own this. Because I wanted to make sure that we were really, I had done some of the research, and that we had done some of the research on what other grievance committees look like so that we know what we need to do and legally what things we can do. So thank you for agreeing to chair that committee. Robin McNair, restorative justice, restorative practices and social justice. Come on, give her a hand.
Thank you. So wonderful to be here this afternoon. How do y'all feel this afternoon? You feel restoratively?
Yes.
So I wanted to come up because I had someone to mention to me that they didn't know when the trainings were. And trainings have been happening all year, and they've been uploaded into my PPS. So I wanted to specifically give you the dates and how to look for the one-day trainings. So the trainings this year, for those of you who haven't trained before, they're split up now. So we have one-day trainings, which gives you the concepts, the philosophy, the overview, the implicit bias, school-to-prison pipeline, and the 2 most informal strategies that you use under restorative practices in that one-day training. And then once you've taken the one-day training, then you can sign up for the 3-day circle training. That enables you to be able to sit in the space with students and have community building circles, content circles, problem-solving circles, celebration circles, so on and so forth. Then there's another one-day training, which is a conflict circle training. That is a totally separate training from your regular community building circles training. So I want to go ahead and give you the dates for the one-day exploratory training. March 27th, April 10th, May 8th, May 29th, and there are going to be some 4-day trainings over the summer. The 4-day training is a conglomerate of everything.
March 27th.
Yes, March 27th, April 10th, May 8th, May 29th. And it's called one-day restorative practices exploratory training. That's what it's called. And the number, I'm hoping I remember it off the top of my head, is 110486. That's the course number. 110486. So 110486. If you cannot find it, because let me tell you something, my PPS, that mess. If you can't find it, please email me, R. McNair. I'm an OG, so I'm R. McNair instead of Robin Dot. R. McNair at pgcps.org. I also wanted to put two other dates into your head just for you to consider. May 30th, June 4th. No. May 30th and June 4th. They will be your educators' self-care circles. Now, we attempted to do 2 this year, but for both of them, we did not have the numbers. So I'm going to attempt to do it. I'm going to give you the dates early, May 30th and June 4th. And that's basically to help us end the year with celebrations, how you can take care of yourself this summer, and just to get the support you need just to move forth into the summer, especially for y'all who's going to be teaching summer school, because you got to supplement that pay since y'all don't have your steps. Yeah.
Go ahead now, say that again, they can hear you.
So that's that. And last but not least, I wanted to say thank you to everyone who supported the Restorative Practices and Social Justice Committee during Black Lives Matter at Schools Week. So please keep your ears out. I don't know when they're going to start it, but they're going to start it early. It may start right when school begins next year or towards the end of this school year. They're going to start planning because next year we want it to be big. We want to get some school board members on board, and we want to get some county members on board as well. Because this thing right here gotta explode. Because we gotta take back our culture in the United States.
Are those educators, is that during the day or after?
Oh, it's gonna be after school. Wouldn't you want it to be during the day though?
Yes.
But it's gonna be after school.
Okay.
So I've tried to put these dates up here. So that's March 27th, April 10th, May 8th. Let me try to make it a little bigger. You can't see it, but I can.
March 27th, April 10th, May 8th, May 29th. It's the same class, so you choose one of those dates. Thank you for asking that question. I'm sorry? Oh, the conflict is going to be April 25th. That's still up in the air. You can only take the conflict circle if you've taken the circle training. Yeah, so you'll be eligible. Yes. Okay, yeah.
Is that okay,
Bear with me because I'm trying to be real good here.
The one in the summertime, yes, it is paid. I don't know when it's going to be. We haven't set those dates yet for the summer.
Okay, so the restorative practices one-day trainings, Robin, where'd you go? Okay. March 27th, April 10th, May 8th, and May 29th, correct?
Yes, that's the one day.
The 1 days. And that is the 110486, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And I'm remembering it off the top of my head, so if it doesn't work, please email me.
So, and it's Robin R. McNair at PGCEA.org. I'm trying to make it as big as I can. It's hard to see what it is on this slide. Can you guys see that? Yeah. And then May 30th and June 4th, those classes are.
Okay, this beautiful young lady right here just corrected me, and I appreciate that. The course number is 10486. This is why we can no longer work individually. We need to work as a community.
I'm sorry, 104.
Okay, so what we're gonna do,
10486.
Robin, is we will make sure, and the ones May 30th and June 4th,
Yeah.
those are 2 days?
Yeah,
Or
two
those one day?
separate days,
Okay,
and it's just gonna be a, educator self-care circle.
self-care circle, okay, wonderful.
Yeah.
Self-care circles. Whoops. So I'm typing this down so I can just cut and paste it and send it to Satin. Send it out in the newsletter. Okay, very good. Next we have, social committee. Right here. Come on, Marguerite, tell them the good news.
The good news. Okay, the good news is that we have the celebration this Saturday, 4 p.m. Come out, come out. We also will have line dancing classes from 5 to 7, and then we have the actual practice of the line dancing from 7 to 11. So come out Saturday at 4 for the celebration for all the people, everybody participating in the march, and those who wanted to participate but they weren't there, please come on out. Also, we have the Save the Date.
Bring your pom-poms.
Woo! Here you are, right here. Also, end of year. Woo! Semester, wait, the quarter's almost over. Everybody's excited? Yeah, yes. And I want to tell you about the end of year celebration. And I like the way you celebrate, so I have something for you. Okay, our end of year celebration is not going to be at PGCEA. We're going out. Where are we going? That's a good question. We're going out to the ball game. We're going to Bowie Bay Sox. We're going to the Bowie Bay Sox game. The cost will be $10.
Booing the social committee chair?
Take me to the ball game.
Oh, okay.
Take me to the ball game. Yeah. Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. So our end of year celebration is going to be at Bowie Bay Sox June 15th. Please mark that on your calendar. Bowie Bay Sox June 15th. And the game will start at 6:35. We will have a link so that you can, there is going to be a charge because you're going to get a ticket along with a food voucher. So it's going to be a minimal charge for the aboard the ticket and food voucher. So that is going to be $10. Yay! Okay, more details to come.
So let me just say this. For building reps, I want to say that we are looking at some ways to offset the cost of the tickets. You guys work really hard in your buildings, getting the information out, and I recognize that. So it may not cost you $10, but it will cost you $10 for your guests. So let me just say this. If you're planning on bringing somebody with you, at least buy a ticket for them, okay? We have reserved 600 tickets already, so we're planning on a crowd. And so bring your friends. I don't see any reason why, if you're a certified building rep, that we can't make an arrangement for you to get a ticket to the game, okay? But if you want to bring a guest, it's gonna cost your guest $10, okay? But you have to be a building rep. That's, I mean, the thing is here's what happens, and I'm gonna be honest with you. We do events, let it be Jesus. That's what my pastor says when somebody's phone goes off in church. Maybe Jesus called it. So what happens is we spend an awful lot of money on a cookout here. I mean, a lot of money. Yeah. And then people show up with containers. And I just want to let people know it's a cookout, not a takeout. So we have to be mindful of our members' dues. And we also have to be mindful of the fact is that when people say they're gonna come, if they don't come, then we have already paid for the food.
Right.
So, if you plan on coming to the game and you are a building rep, be prepared to let us know at the April meeting. We've got a couple of months before the actual event, and let us know if you bought other additional tickets, because that's and the more people you get to come from your building, it's a good way. We'd like for everybody to wear their the Red for Ed shirts, and I'm trying to get Maurice to help subsidize some of the costs for the food. Okay, so Sparks. Where my Sparks ladies at? Woo, 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 woo. Where there's Sparks, there's fire. Go ahead.
That's right. Good evening. Philomena, one of my Angelou, French merchant. How are you? I'm so excited, given the promotion and everything else, that I can't even stop smiling. But anyway, so this year we wanted to do something. Sparks attempted, and I'm going to say attempted, to hold a program on this Friday. But it's grading day, so we had to postpone it. I am so sorry, but the flyers had gone out. It's already in the news set and all of that. So we're just going to give you a new date. But what we're trying to do, and we're going to meet with a new, new teachers engagement also. Any of the committees here, you have new people, please plug in with us. We're trying to get our people out there and into the different committees. But pretty much on the 29th and whatever subsequent date we're going to choose, probably the first Friday in April. I don't know yet. We have to double check on the calendar. We're just trying to kind of get our people engaged, right? And of course, this is in celebration of Women's Month, Women's History Month, so we might still get our women's program going. All right? So please come out and celebrate Sparks. Thank you.
Okay. Now, who went to the NEA Leadership Summit? Stand up, please. Okay, I want you each to go to the mic. Go to the mic. So, this past weekend, these lovely people went to Denver to the NEA Leadership Summit that they have every year. It used to be what they call it, regional leadership. So Donna, you can go first and tell us the one thing you learned this weekend.
I've been voluntold to go first. All these people stand up here, they all say, you take the mic.
No.
All right, so the best session that I attended was one on how to develop loyalty to the association through the concept of brand loyalty and branding. It was really, really interesting and really good on how to build year after year increasing member involvement and member loyalty.
Thank you very much. Next.
Oh.
So, I went to the one conducted by, I forget, Louis from Fresno in California. Basically, it interests me so much because we're presently now doing opening bargaining, and they have already done it since 2015. So as a result of that, he highlighted some of the strategies they had used in order to be so successful. And I was so taken into it. I wish we could have him here to appeal to us as members and to see how their membership got involved, especially when they were doing bargaining. Like they started with just 20 people. And when the word got out, they grew to like 40-something, and then it went to 240, and how the legislators, the feedback they were getting sometimes when they became so resistant to the strategies they used. So I was really overwhelmed with the activities and the way they went about it. And it is something here we need to, as members, I think, we should really pay keen interest in. And when the appeal comes out that we're to be here, we could just turn up and show our, not legislators, well, legislators, that we mean business, and it's not business as usual. It's a new term, it's a new era, and we want what is due ours.
Thank you. I'm Portia Deal, and I did the Communications Institute. If you notice, I paused. When I get ready to speak, I get nervous and I speak very rapidly. So we worked on how to pause, how to formulate your thoughts before you speak. We did modeling. Well, they did modeling, and we did a replicate of what they did. One of the films we looked at was from Toastmasters. And the interesting thing is, when I worked for the FDIC, I was in Toastmasters many years ago. So some of those strategies I remembered, but I don't practice them because I have anxiety. So we looked at ways to just take my time, make sure people understand what I'm saying, and make sure that I follow my notes, and not to get away from them until I get very comfortable with the material and with the audience, and being able to speak to the audience at a level where they can understand, whether I'm speaking to my students or people when we negotiate. So we sit at the table at the PGCPS Special Education Committee, which is very nervous for me, and when I'm speaking at the rep. So I thank you for allowing me to go. It was an awesome experience.
Portia is the chair of our Special Education Committee. Yay.
Hi. I went to a session that dealt with children who have suffered trauma and how they show up in our classrooms and how we can deal with them even though we're not psychologists or sociologists or any of that stuff. So I thought it was helpful. They did a film on a little girl who had suffered trauma, and of course the entire room was crying by the end. But to understand that a child has trauma and how to begin to address them and how to give them the space to tell you if they want to, that's a big help. It was a big help to me.
Thank you, Yvonne.
Okay. Well, just a few of the things that I brought back. I think one of the things that I found very exciting was the free graduate credits, the micro-credentials. So just to share with the people in my building, those who are doing national board, I know we have one member, one of the Sparks doing national board, so there's something NEA does called Jumpstart, that's to support those who are doing national board. I attended the Leading Our Profession Institute, and just how to engage the members. So like how to map out your building and different things like that, just to get more work done. I think two things. The pre-institute workshop on social justice was really phenomenal. Something that I took from there had to do with how, when we talk about racism and things like that, or why we are actually pushing restorative practices and things of that sort, social justice. The presenter shared something about, well, he talked about redlining, he talked about Blockbuster, and I know you know where redlining is though, right? Where it can, anyway, check it out, redlining, Blockbuster, and different things of that sort that keeps, including the media, that really puts certain neighborhoods that just really keep them in this gridlock. Like you really can't break out of it, because if you can get better, if most of the budget comes from like homes and stuff, right? Property taxes, and if you can't really get those property taxes because you can afford high homes, you know, so the schools are going to be poor and things of that sort. I mean, it's just a vicious cycle, the way he just described it. And finally, I found funny that the speaker on Sunday, Dr. Daniel Walker, when he spoke, I'm still reeling from it, but some of the things that he was talking about, all of these things, and I thought maybe since he was describing and discussing things like social justice and some of the reasons why we really need to stand for social justice, I would have thought that message would have been one of the opening sessions and not to a Sunday crowd where you had just few people. So when we talk about restorative practices or we talk about social justice, it's really serious, and it affects or impacts, you know, it impacts everybody, but more so it impacts minorities, and we really need to get on the ball with that.
Education justice is what? Education justice is racial justice. Thank you.
I attended the fiscal health and designing an appropriate plan of action. How to align everything in your budget with everything you're doing. And one of the things, we've been making some changes on the board over the last few years as far as having an ethics policy and a conflict of interest policy and everything else. So I learned some other new and interesting things that I'm going to share with the board and see if it's things we want to implement.
And the last but not the least, I attended the grant writing. This was conducted by NEA through Dr. Barbara Hopkins. And there are lots of available resources from the NEA, and I want you to explore the available resources, money, or different grants that the NEA could, help us with. So we will explore grant writing this time. Thank you.
So I attended my microphone's not working. That was not gonna work. Can you hear me now? Okay, so I attended a leadership series on activism and advocacy and how to move the association forward with advocacy. And it's not just about the showing up at rallies. It's about really targeted ways that we as an association can make a difference. One of the things, I'm sorry, I'm gonna shut it off because now everybody's calling. So, one of the things that I learned that was really important is that it made me reflect on where we are as an association politically. And this year, in the past 3 years, we've lost 3 members of the General Assembly who we lost. Jim Proctor, Carolyn Howard has retired, and now Ulysses Curry has retired. So that's 3 voices on public education that are no longer in Annapolis. So what we need to do is grow our own candidates, because Joanne Benson's not going to be in Annapolis forever. I wish, she's. Who amongst you is willing to serve? And I ask you that now because that's what the advocacy was about. And it was about working with municipal leaders. It was about working with county council members. It was about having strategies that don't always follow the rules. Because we didn't make the rules, we just have to follow them. Sometimes the rules are made to keep you in submission. So it was a great weekend to spend, and I think everybody got a lot out of it. And a lot of the workshops that we went to at the NEA leadership, we will be having here in Prince George's County over the next year. Because the best part about being this close to DC is that we're this close to DC. So a lot of the staff members that do the workshops, when I asked them, would you mind coming to Prince George's County? They said, sure, just send me an email. So that's what we're gonna do, because we need to grow our leaders. We need to have candidate training. I'm sorry, word got out. Somebody must have texted somebody. Oh, okay, because Christy Anderson, the attorney who does the Elections Commission, sent out the results. I'm gonna turn this off, Susan, push that to the. Okay, so, to me, it's the most important thing for us to get our advocacy together and grow our own candidates. Because I don't see why Philomena couldn't be a good candidate. I don't see why you couldn't be a good candidate. Anybody. And guess what? When you put your name on the ballot, people listen to you more. Because guess what? When I ran for county council, I only lost by 1%. The next day, the county council member who won, well, he beat me by 1%. That really hurt. But the next day, he called me into his office. Why? Because he represented 10,500 people. I represented 10,000 people in that district. So he's accountable. We need to hold our elected officials accountable. So I'm looking for some candidates. I'm looking for some folks who really think, hey, I got it. And it only costs $25. I'll personally pay for somebody to run. Okay? All right. Next on the agenda, we have, we did special education. Is Keela Foster here?
No, you didn't do special ed.
I didn't do special ed? Okay, back to the microphone with you. Special ed? And the NECC has a report tonight?
Okay. Again, Portia Deal, Parkdale High School, Special Education Committee Chair. I want to thank the representatives who went back to their schools and encouraged the special educators to respond to the surveys. We had over 230 surveys, and there's some more still coming in. And these surveys are important because they're giving us information, data, so that when we sit, as 5 of us sit with PGCPS, we have data to support the challenges that the special educators are experiencing in the county. So I want to thank everyone and thank the special educators who participated. The survey, as far as I know, is still open. You will receive another one and more information will come at that time. I know we're very busy, but we really need that type of participation so that we're not sitting there, the 5 of us seeming like only that we're the ones who are just coming up with these situations that are occurring in the county. We will meet with them on Wednesday again, and we're going to give them the results. We've met twice. We gave them our platform. They gave us PowerPoint. We're going back, and I said, okay, we know where you are. This is what we need for you to do for us, for the county, the special educators. So again, I thank you. The Special Education Committee meets the 3rd Tuesday of each month at 4:45. April might be a little different because of spring break. So if we don't meet in April, we will meet again in May. Yes, ma'am.
Say third.
The 3rd Tuesday.
Thank you very much. I missed the Minority Affairs Committee.
Oh,
Anna Jones, Board of Director, Board Liaison for Minority Affairs. The scholarship applications are out there online. Also, there are some hard copies out at the back. So I'm asking you, please take a couple and take it to your seniors, those of us who are in high schools, so that we can really populate and really get our seniors some money when they leave high schools. It's your money, it's your contribution, and we really want to service our kids. Our presentation for the applicants will be May 23rd, and I think that's about it. And I hope you're enjoying Taste of Diversity. Madam P, just a plug there, if you so like, and your taste buds are up, if you want some extra to take with you when our meeting is over, you can do so.
Okay.
As food lasts.
All right, thank you.
Now,
Moving on to new business, Yvonne Basich, microphone 2.
Yvonne Basich, I move the new business item number 1 on American justice.
You should have a
I
copy of this
have
in
a
front of you.
second.
Anna Jones, second.
Madam Chair, we have a couple of changes. Can the changes be read? They're just grammatical, basically.
Okay, so if it's just a grammatical change, then we don't need to make a whole lot of
Okay.
amendments. The president will accept modifications and suggestions. It is
Okay.
if it does not change the tone and tenor of
No.
the letter. Go ahead.
So, this was sparked by the Paul Manafort sentence. I watched that thing, and I got enraged, really, because I know what's going on around the country and about how African Americans are being sentenced for stealing a loaf of bread. And this man cheated the United States of millions of dollars in taxes. And he gets 37 months, whatever. So that's part number 1. My daughter was here this weekend, and she was reading this, and she came through Prince George's County Schools, and she said, I can't, now she's, grew up in my family and went to Prince George's County Schools, and now lives in Brooklyn, so she uses salty language. And she said, I can't believe that this shh is still going on. And we know that during the 2016 presidential election, the shh came out into the sunlight and was given permission to speak. However, the problem with United States racism is not individuals. We are not going to solve this by talking to individuals and convincing them that they're wrong. That's not it at all. It is institutional racism that we are fighting. That's the real fight. And we as teachers have to stand up and say, no more. Enough is enough. And our kids, when they see this, when they see Paul Manafort getting 37 months, they understand perfectly well what's going on. That's why it's called a white-collar crime, because it's mainly meted out to white people. Now, in Prince George's County especially us, because we have undertaken Black Lives Matter and other issues, we need to make a statement that is unequivocal. We are not going to take this shh anymore, and we're going to fight it with everything that we've got. So mainly this is a statement of intent, a statement of belief, which I think I thought we'd send it to the Washington Post. I don't know whether they'll print it.
Thank you,
But
Ms.
to
Basic.
some of the local papers, and certainly put it out to the press and put it out to our members. So send it to the Baltimore Sun, right? That's it.
Sing, or do you want to add to that?
Well, I was just going to support her argument in
State your
regards to
name
it.
and what grade
Anna
you're from.
Jones, Board of Director, and I'm in support of the new business item. You know, even today I was doing a social studies class and I was floored by the response. We were looking at the independence of America after the revolution. And I said to the kids, what would it take for a government not to work, to defeat a government? And one student blatantly said, Donald Trump and the GOP. I stopped speaking because the whole place erupted and was giving me their opinions and so on and so forth. So it goes to say how things are going and the shift in the integrity of our culture and of our being here. And just to see the crime that the atrocities, and the demise that this man was about to bring to this country, and he just gets a tap on the shoulder because he has money. Even this Mueller report that just comes out, I am baffled. So many indictments around this man and the whole Russia thing, and it's like you tell me that you don't see no reason or any form of collaboration or collusion in it. Something is wrong. When you have money, this is the road we take down to a dark, dark place. And I think we should really find a way where we can, as educators who know better, and we are all filled with integrity, that we highlight how we feel, the distrust that we feel against this ruling, and probably get it published wherever it can be published, and even speak to our students. Ask them how do they feel about it. That's my take.
Thank you. Seeing no one rising to the mic to speak in opposition, all in favor of the new business item. American Justice System, raise your voting cards. All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you very much, ladies. So, speaking of justice, I don't know about you guys, but I like being referred to as the N County or the N District. One of the delegates in the Maryland General Assembly, she still is, spoke and said that about Prince George's County. Point of information.
If we don't have quorum, is that still, I mean, I like that we have the intent of this body, but does it still really, does it go to the Washington Post?
So you can't call for quorum after a vote has already started. So after the vote happens, it is what it is. I hear what you're saying.
Okay, I just wasn't sure why. Okay, fine.
I'm not sure whether we have quorum. I have to check with the NECC whether we have quorum. Until somebody calls a quorum call, then we operate as if we have quorum. Okay? And I don't know, Kim, do we have quorum?
We did the check-in, yes.
We do, okay. No, we have quorum, okay. So, yes, yep. So anyway, the reason why I bring up Ms. Lasanti from Harford County is that I know some of you may have seen the press conference, that I was at the press conference. However, I was at the press conference in my role as a member of the Democratic Central Committee representing Prince George's County. And the Maryland Democratic Party called for her resignation. So I was at the press conference in that capacity. And I want to say that because we have not officially taken a position on it. MSCA has, that she should resign. So then I guess we can say that now. But I don't want to get northern with this. There are still some folks that are working on this issue, and I want you to keep your ears open because I'm really angry about it. Not just a little tick thought they were bad enough to call me the N-word. One of them spit at me, and one of them threw something at me. I'm gonna tell you, they will think twice before they ever act in that manner again. Because sometimes I try to be Martin Luther King. But every now and then, Teresa X comes out. Now, I'm not saying that because I'm real tough and I think I'm all of that. I'm saying that because in my household, if somebody referred somebody as an N-word, you got slapped in the face by our parents. It is a derogatory term used to insult us and marginalize us. And then when they marginalize us, the institutional racism takes another form in the General Assembly. Because guess what? Then they say, oh, well, we'll give you some money, but guess what? We're going to put some accountability measures in place. Accountability measures mean, okay, you poor black folks with high concentrations of poverty don't have sense enough to self-determine yourself. Oh, excuse me, I'm preaching. I'm gonna go to my president's report. So community schools, I'm gonna start off with community schools. Community schools build democracy. Community schools give a place in the community for our children. If you are not familiar with the 6 pillars of community schools, then we will be running at least 2 workshops on what community schools are in Prince George's County over the next month and a half. Because our Title I money is under attack. What they want to do is they want to take the Title I money and say if this school's not performing well, then it needs to be a charter. We need to give the people vouchers. We need to add school choice. Well, what good is school choice when you don't have too much to choose from? When you take the money out of the school system for charters, that leaves the system without the ability to provide for all of the children. And what happens? How many of you have had children who've been in charter schools that they couldn't service the child and they sent them back to it? Okay? We don't get to choose the children. We teach every single one of them. And so when the concept of vouchers is a whole nother issue because that's just money that's going to fly out of the system. And even if you have a voucher, that doesn't mean you're going to have the rest of the tuition money as well. So there's a lot of, I can tell you about in Florida where the charter school laws have been relaxed, that they have resegregated the schools in Florida. So now, I am the vice chair of the Community Schools Committee for the county, for the pilot program. And what I want you to know is that last week at the board meeting, I spoke about the fact that we do not have an ESSA, Every Student Succeeds Act, team in Prince George's County. The state of Maryland has their ESSA plan. MSDE released it last year. We have seen it already coming. They've got the star ratings out. They have already identified the 3 schools in Prince George's County that are going to need comprehensive support initiatives. I don't know whether they've released them publicly or not, but what I will tell you this is that, I don't want to say the names of schools only because there's some other schools are under, have appealed the schools, and I want to just, I don't want to go there yet. But my point about it is that in those schools, those comprehensive support initiative schools, where is the in-servicing for the members? Because they're supposed to have a committee, very similar to SPMT, to look at how they're going to improve student achievement in those schools. So how are we supposed to do that when they haven't told us or in-serviced us? Prince George's County has relied very heavily on compliance, the Office of Compliance. When I asked about this, I was told, well, talk to the compliance officer. He's a very nice man, but the point is he says, well, they set up the committees on the dates they were supposed to set the committees up. I said, but then he starts talking about all of the other things that they need to improve in the schools. And I'm sitting there saying, well, duh, that's a community school. Why aren't these schools in the community schools pilot So the good news is that they have expanded the pilot for community schools. It's gonna be more than just 3 schools. It's probably gonna be either 6 or 9 schools. What does that mean for you? And what does that mean for us as Prince George's County Educators Association? What it means is that we are at the table with the implementation of this pilot program. And what I need is those of you that are interested in the concept of community schools. Now, how many of you actually don't even know what a community school is? Tell the truth, share the devil. How many of you know what it is? Oh, you guys all know what it is, right? It's got restorative practices, wraparound services, a highly engaged staff. It has great parental involvement. Doesn't that sound like any school you want to teach that? Yeah. Okay, so it's going to be a voluntary thing to work at a community school, but you're going to have a lot more resources in a community school. So, I say that because our children deserve this. And I have been working on this for the whole time that I've been president, and there are many of us who've gone to community schools trainings, so that we are looking towards implementing this. So please watch the newsette, and we will be, as an association, we are pushing to make sure that the county has an ESSA team, because we cannot just comply. We've got to do better than put the things in place that the best practice you know are going to work. We know community schools works. We've seen it happen across the nation, and we're getting support from NEA to do this. So this is the type of thing that we learn when we're in NEA meetings. So a lot of really cool things happened this week, this month. Let me pull them up. It's not up. Save. I want to show you some of these cool things. So my month started out really good at the National Board pinning ceremony. Is Rainey Miller here? No. She renewed her national board. She's a coordinator for national boards. Was there anybody here who got pre-pinned or pinned this time? No? Okay. So we had, I believe, 59 members who were pinned, and it was just really, it was a great experience. You can't see this. I'll just share with you what I did, because I don't want to delay this because we're already running a little tardy. So we had the pinning ceremony at Flowers High School. It's a big thing every year, and it was really nice to see Claudette. Is she here? Claudette Clark. She's not here. She renewed. She's one of our building reps. And they actually let me speak, so it was very nice. And I think that we really need to make sure that we do what we need to do. Our bargaining for the common good, Jennifer's going to talk about that. But I want to thank all of you who brought people from your buildings to bargaining for the common good, who are members of the CAT team, who are sharing that information in your buildings, because the more people that come out, the better it is. We've got a couple more of them coming up, and I'm not going to steal all of Jennifer's thunder, but, well, she's the chief negotiator, so we have different roles and we respect each other's lanes. So the issue is we need you to come out. We've got a lot of events coming up over the next year. Everybody's got their shirts now, so you might as well wear them. Wear them to the bargaining for the common good meetings. Wear them when we go to county council. Wear them when we go to different public events where people will see you. Wear red. Every place I show up, people say, "Are you a Delta? Are you a Delta?" No, I just like red for ed. So wear your red. The county council has the budget now. Last week, I went to the budget presentation for Angela Alsobrooks. She funded all but about $14 million of the requested budget of the county the school board. What does that mean? That means that we have to make sure that we are actively writing our members of the delegation. Everybody you should have received an email, a text from Cheryl Bose, the president of MSEA, asking you to continue on with the efforts for the March for Our Kids, for our students, March for Our Schools, and that you are supposed to send an email if you click on it. And I already got responses from my delegates. Now, of course, they listen to me a little bit more. I'm gonna tell you that, that's true. But you should send your delegates and your senators these letters, because if they don't hear from you, then they don't know you exist. Last week, about a week and a half ago, a big bill came out, the Blueprint for Excellence. It came out the week before the march. The Blueprint for Excellence is the low-hanging fruit from Kerwin Commission. It is the concentrated poverty money, which would give school districts a 1.5% match on salaries for educators. So if the county puts in 1.5%, they get 1.5%, so that's 3%. 3% is a step for us. The county council last week voted to support that initiative. So that means they've got to come up with that additional 1.5%. So what does that mean we have to do? We have to be in their behinds about it. No, I'm not mincing any words about this at all, because we have to show that we are our advocates for our students, and it's not just about salary for us. It's about keeping people in the building. I mean, I don't know how much turnover we can take, because it's affecting the children.
Yeah.
So the county council has already agreed to support their 1.5%, at least, but it's a grant. So what we have to do is make sure that that Blueprint for Excellence passes in the House. It hasn't passed yet. It's gone to a conference committee, because it passed the House and the Senate. So now it's in a conference committee, because the Senate cut the last part of the bill, which was $387 million as a down payment for Kerwin for next year, to $287 million. And I mean, I kind of figured that was where they were going to cut from. But there are so many things in this Blueprint bill, pre-K, and the concentrated areas of poverty money is also for the community schools pilot programs. So it's really important right now that we move and push the General Assembly to do what they need to do. Push the county council and stay on them for what they need to do. Because our children can't wait. So over the next month and 2 months, you will be receiving in the Newsette the dates. The county council meets every Tuesday. And every Tuesday, I've been showing up at the county council with a member of PGCEA. Last week, I took Elizabeth Lazaro. I would say, oh, I'm sorry, it doesn't mean I don't love you, I'm sorry. But I took Elizabeth with me, and she got up and she spoke about what it's like to be a special ed science middle school teacher. So anybody who would like to go on a Tuesday, let me know, and tell your story. Tomorrow, Lori Morrow, who's one of our PTA presidents, who's been working with us in parent engagement, is going to talk about that. The other thing that we have been doing is last week the board, Ms. Golson was there, Dr. Golson was there, and she was talking about all of the different audits. Now, did you guys know that there was a whole page of all of the audits on the Prince George's County Public Schools website? And you can go and look for the grading audits, all of the different audits that we have gone through, and what the results have been. Now, as they go through the audits, of course, they have to put measures in place where they're finding things. So I know that I have received a lot of information from members concerning the attendance policy and the plan that she submitted to the state, especially the ridiculous nature of some of the means by which we have to keep tab of students who are not in attendance. Because I don't know, but I think School Max can tell you who's out for 3 days. And I also think that there's a place in School Max where I can put a little note that I've called that parent. There's also a place in School Max for my administrator to go in and look at all of that. So why do I gotta fill out a form and walk it down to the office? It's a waste of your professional time. So we're working on that amongst other things. So I want everybody to say, hallelujah. Hallelujah. Because tuition reimbursement is online. Yeah. You guys should be really happy. We've been begging for it. You've been begging for it. And now you don't have to go and stand in line. Now, was the rollout perfect? No. But did anybody actually think it was going to be perfect? No. Anytime you institute something new, there's going to be some change, there's going to be some problems. And I believe they were able to work a lot of the problems out. Brian has been working, raise your hand, Brian. Brian has been working really hard on the tuition reimbursement with the tuition are there any members of the tuition reimbursement team here? No? Okay, so anyway, the tuition reimbursement portal is up. I don't believe it's out of money yet, because I would have got an email about that. So if you haven't turned it in, you can turn it in. They did reopen the portal last Wednesday, and people were successful to get on. So if there are any other concerns about that, please make sure you let Brian know, because he is the staff member assigned to that committee. And the other victory, because we've had a couple of really good victories. Not tuition reimbursement. The other thing is the lunch duty. Victory. That's a victory, people. That's a victory. That's a victory. And I want to thank Jennifer and our staff and Gary for working so hard on that and making sure that we won that. And let me just say this. If people have not turned in their papers turned in their timesheets, or their timesheets were turned in late, they will be paid. However, if you turned in your timesheets late, or the bookkeeper wasn't able to handle it, they extended it one more pay period. If you turn it in late, if you turn your paperwork in late, you will get paid. However, there is no promise that you will not see it until the end of the school year at the July term. However, if you are doing lunch duty, you should turn in your forms at least on a bi-weekly basis when the bookkeeping cycle begins. So you should know, we got paid on Friday, right? So this week, at the end of the week on Friday, is when they turn in payroll. So if you have forms for lunch duty, you need to turn them in. They will need to go in this week, okay? If your bookkeeper tells you, I'm not taking them for some reason, you need to find out why. And it might be that they either have a specific time that they're going to receive them, that they should let you know in writing. You need to check with your bookkeeper in your building, because some schools are bigger than others, and it's very challenging for someone to receive 40 different forms. That's a victory. That's a big victory for people who've been doing lunch duty, especially middle school guidance counselors who've been forced to do lunch duty all along. So, thank you. Okay, so, having said all of that, I want to encourage all of you to stay active over the next couple of months. Our schools depend upon it, and our children can't wait. And I also want to thank everybody who came out for the art build. See all the beautiful artwork? Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I was picking paint out of my fingers for a long time, but it was so worth it. The last thing I want to say is that we have hired a new communications director, communications/political director, and his name is Josh. Come on up, Josh. He don't want to say nothing. However, he's Jay Harris at PGCEA. If you take a picture of PGCEA members that you think we should put in the newsletter, post on Facebook, send out on Instagram, or tweet. Is that right? Tweet? Okay. I'm learning. He came in with a new software package the other day, and I said, stop. I'm getting so much information from Twitter and everybody else. I don't know if I can take another one, but so we're really pleased to have him with us. And now I would like to remind people that please send comments to president@pgcea.org, or you can text me at 240-237-2822. And that was all that I had. I want to turn it over to Jennifer Epps for her executive director's report. Oh, and by the way, the party on Saturday is going to be off the hook now, if you know what I'm saying. I just want to make sure y'all know. Because we're going to have a real party on Saturday. I'm just saying. Breaking news. Trump is in jail.
No, it's about the school system.
I don't know. I need to see what it is.
Yeah, let's read see it first.
It's all over the news.
I know, but I need to see what it is.
Yeah.
Give her a pair of glasses. Right, but when was this? This is Fox. Before, okay, so let me address it, okay? Fox News is reporting some negative information about Prince George's County Public Schools.
They always.
Okay?
They
About
always.
contracts and how contracts were awarded. Now, let me just say this. If all we do is talk about what is bad, then that's what we get. Now, I guarantee you, and I knew some of that was going on, because I looked it up. We looked it up, didn't we, Jennifer? We looked it up, and that's one of the reasons why we did not support the former county executive for governor. Because when we looked at the contracts that were awarded to the school system, and we looked at his campaign finance reports, and we disaggregated the data, we saw that he had received over $45,000 from contractors that were doing business with the school system. I said this before here. So I think as we move forward, I do think that all of this money that's coming to build schools in Prince George's County, these 18 schools are going to be built like this in short order. Somebody's going to be getting some money for that. So we need to keep our eyes open, and remember, it's about who? It's about the children. Okay? And we need to make sure that we keep our minds focused on that. And the fact that people are actually working together in Prince George's County, the county executive, the school board under Dr. Thornton, this is not something that should be lost on any of us. However, just because we singing Kumbaya doesn't mean that I don't pull somebody aside and say, you know what, Dr. Golson, you are not going to do that to my members. I'm going to have to file a grievance. So don't get it twisted. Okay? Jennifer.
Good evening, everybody. I'm gonna make this really quick because I think Teresa covered most of it. You guys know, bargaining for the common good, we had a session on this week, and we talked about fair compensation. We talked about the law steps. We talked about we had a three-legged stool. respond back yes to everything? Absolutely not. They responded back in a lot of ways pretty ambiguous. I think we still have to flush out a lot of what they meant by this is going to be in the administrative procedure, or we can agree to a committee for whatever. I think we want real contract language, and we're going to push them as hard as we can to get to real contract language. The important part is what we're going to do outside of the table, and that stuff has to do with showing up not only at the bargaining committee, at the bargaining meeting, but showing up at the county council, showing up at the school board meetings, and we'll definitely send some alerts so that folks know when to come out. And also, the CAT team is going to be meeting on April the 2nd and coming up with a plan on how we make sure what's happening at the bargaining table is actually happening in the schools, that people know, that people are feeling engaged and involved. Because they need to understand, even if they can't make it to those sessions, that they are a part of making this contract negotiations by a reality. So I think also, just to be clear, the reason why it matters that we go to Annapolis and it matters that we call our legislators or email the folks in the county council in Annapolis, because everything has to be bargained. At the end of the day, whatever is going on in Annapolis, whatever happens in the county council, it has to be bargained in our contract in order for it to happen. So I think all of that matters, and we need to be mindful of that. That was the last thing. I think that's it. Hopefully that's the last report, right? Here's the last. Okay. All right.
So I just want to say one thing, and that is thanks again, Jennifer.
Yep.
Because I could not do the things that I do as your president, going to this meeting, going to that meeting, showing up at this event or that event, without knowing that Jennifer's holding it down back here at PGCEA. And thank you so much. And it is really refreshing to have that level of support from your executive director. So, having said that, I will entertain a motion to extend the meeting for the people who are at the mic for questions and comments.